Hello everybody. I just wanted to go quickly over some things about eggs before we start putting them in the incubator. These are all from the same hen. They've actually been, some of the eggs have been sitting out there for about 2 weeks, I believe. And I'm guessing from just looking at these eggs, you wouldn't be able to tell which was a 2-week-old or ones that was just laid this morning or last night. So we'll just go over a few things, and there's a couple eggs here that have some anomalies that I'd like to go over. So here we go. The first one, now everybody calls it an aircell. I really dislike that term because it's really not an aircell. It's just basically a void, since there's no air inside of a hen, and you will still have this. The odds of it being filled up with air as soon as it comes out of chicken is really rare. So I like calling it a void, but I end up calling it an air cell because that's the only thing that people understand it being called. But you can tell the freshness by the size. Usually, on this one, I'd say probably about a day and a half old. If it was just right out of a hen, it's usually about the size of a pea, maybe even a little bit smaller. The longer it sits out, the larger the air cell will get. So we'll just go to the next one. This one, this one's probably been, I'd say maybe 4 days sitting outside of the out of a hen, and about 85-degree temperature. This I would still put in the incubator. It is getting close to a size that I just don't really feel comfortable with. That'll be on the next egg. Now this, you can see it's about the size of a quarter. If you can tell, it's from right about there to right about there. This one's probably been in there about a week and a half. This one here, I would not put in the incubator. It's just not worth the hassle. And the odds of it hatching are really, really low. Or even starting. I wouldn't even think this one would start. It's been sitting too long. You can see a little bit of movement. That means that membrane's already starting to come loose from the shell. So I wouldn't even put this one in the incubator. Would I still eat this one? Yeah, it still would be safe, but not good for an incubator. Now this one, you can see the cell's maybe not as big as the last one, but you can already see where the yolk has stuck to the eggshell. I definitely would not put this inside the incubator. It's not going to hatch. And this one, that's a spoiled egg. Now, one thing that people just kind of don't understand, this is caused by the same bacteria that causes rigor mortis in humans. It's just basically breaking down the proteins on the inside of the egg. It's a bacteria that comes from the hen mother, the grandmother, great-grandmother, blah, 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 all the way down through the generations. It's just everything, all the bacteria that we have in our bodies are the same bacteria that a chicken's going to have in their body when they die. the bacteria breaks down the proteins to just basically go back to Mother Earth. Let's see what we got with this one. Oh, here's one I wanted to talk about. This has not been under a hen. The temperature outside has been about 85 degrees. But you can see the start of the growth right there. It's about the size of a pea. So an egg doesn't need a hen to start. It just needs heat. This one, I would say, it's probably, the egg's been sitting out for about a week, because you can tell from the air cell about the size. But this, I'm really curious about this one. I've never seen it start outside without the hen laying on it, or just the heat. So I'm going to put this one in the incubator and see how it does. Some of the things are real hard to see, but you can see bubbles. See the dark ridges right there? Those are bubbles from the bacteria starting to break down the protein. I'm guessing something maybe it started like the other egg and died, so the bacteria is starting to break down the protein, so it creates little bubbles right along the membrane. It's kind of like what you see, people call it air cell separation, like what they get from shipped eggs. So you can see some of the bubbles moving around. Yeah, see there? You can see it moving right there. So I'm not really sure. I don't get shipped eggs. It just wastes money. I'd rather buy local. But I think there's more to see the bubbles and the separation in the membrane than just being shipped, or the temperature in the shipping. I think the other egg had about the same amount of bubbles. Oh, I know what it was. That's right. Round in, pointed in, air cells right along there. See, it's coming right along there. I would definitely not put this into an incubator. Just too many things that can go wrong. Well, I hope that answers a couple of your questions you ever had about eggs. Because I'm really not sure. Too many people have talked about how you can tell freshness and everything from an egg. But we'll see how that one does in the incubator. I got some quail eggs to go in there. And we'll start checking them every day. Thank you.